Welcome back, everybody, to yet another From Screen to Shelf review. I am Chase. I am one of the three beautiful souls that make up this wonderful channel. And I have something super exciting to talk to you about, and that is going to be Severin's very elusive 4K transfer and highly limited edition. 4 Flies on Gray Velvet. Stay tuned. All right, guys, we're going to dive right into it, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit of a cool story about how I managed to get this, because this is one of the biggest nightmares that I have ever seen whenever it comes to getting a 4K. I remember it was up for a few days around Black Friday in 2022, I want to say, and maybe even just a day. I know it was extremely limited to get this, and now it is one of the officially priciest 4Ks to get out there because of how limited this was. This isn't up there with Suspiria 2016, I want to say, or 2018. And then there's also another one on called Neon Demons that only got a German release, and those were prime originals that got 4Ks overseas. Those are extremely pricey discs. This one is now up there. I recently made a trip, which if you watched the Lost Picture show, I might have went into detail. I don't remember if I did. Long story short, I made a trip to the archive over where I live, and my sole goal was to go get the Lost Picture show. So I went to go get there, and in the way freaking back was this, and you wouldn't believe the price I got it for. I got this, which it's still a lot for a 4K movie, but I am a Argento fanatic. I had seen this movie a long time ago, and I was really upset that I wasn't able to secure this during that Black Friday flash sale that Severin ran, or flash pre-order, I guess you could say. This was $45. $45. And I hate to make that sound like I got the bargain of a century, but I as much as scalping prices are throwing it up, the cheapest listing as of this recording that I was able to find was about $120. And I was never going to pay that. So I kind of chalked it up to the only missing Argento in my collection. And voila, here we are. I went home with it immediately. I went and traded in some old Blu-rays that I had really no business really owning. And I got quite a bit of credit at the archive. So technically, I didn't spend anything on this. So that's a win-win. I'm super excited that it's now in my collection and I can share thoughts with you guys here. So I'm not going to do my typical showcase just because this is a standard slip, just like this. That is the back of that for you guys to see. That's amazing, and that is an extremely creepy mask that's used in the movie. So we're going to go ahead and remove that slip, and we're going to look at that. It does have interchangeable artwork based off of memory to the Italian cover. And I don't know if I'm missing anything in this. I can't even find the listing on Severin's site just to gather details. I actually had to go to a forum to see how this was restored. But on the inside, this has just a little card. That's it. It does have one BD100 and a Blu-ray and another Blu-ray and a soundtrack. So that is really cool. This is actually a pretty packed release in regards to the features. The special features on this disc, bear with me, it's actually kind of exciting. So it is a 4-disc set. On disc 1, the only special features on the 4K disc itself is the audio commentary with Mondo Digital's Nathaniel Thompson and Troy Howarth, author of So Deadly, So Perverse, Giallo-style films from around the world. And that's only on the director's cut, and then trailers. Cool, it's a BD100. I'm sure there's some room to spare on that one, so not going to be too upset that there's trailers on there. I've been on record, I think every time that there's a special feature for trailers, I always say I love checking those out, and it's really cool to see how differently movies are advertised, and especially to see what a trailer looked like versus what I am watching in today's world. So I love that. On the Blu-rays, where a lot of the special features are on the Disc 2 Blu-ray, you have Lord of the Flies, interview with co-writer and director Dario Argento himself, the man, the myth, the legend. The Day of the Flies, interview with co-writer Luigi Cozzi. I don't know if it's Cozy or Cozzi, so I'm going to cover all bases and say it both ways. Then disc 3 is the most packed one. So you have a talk with God, interview with actor Bud Spencer, please Mr. Postman, interview with actor Gildo DeMarco, Death in Slow-Mo, interview with assistant cameraman Roberto Forges Davanzanti. As of this recording, the only two that so far that I've listed off that I have watched was the interview and the Death in Slow-Mo, because the final scene in this movie will take your breath away. It will take your breath away. Absolutely stunning. So, without further ado, we're almost through. Time flies. Interview with production manager Angelo, I don't know if that's an I or an L, so I'm going to say it Iacono or Lacono. Again, covering both bases. Dissecting flies. Interview with film historian Antonio Tintori. Flies on the Wall. Interview with Alan Jones, author of Profondo Argento. So, a lot of interviews, a lot of extras. Severin's really notorious for having quite the price for their releases, and this was no exception. This one was rather pricey whenever it dropped. So, like I said, I'm over the moon that I essentially got it for credit. You know what I mean? I'm going to go ahead and dive into the movie, and I am going to say that this is definitely not Argento's best. It is still a very fun, very solid movie if you like those Italian giallo-style movies. It is a very, very, very fun dive and foray into some of his earliest work. So, if you like to be able to see, I just, quick rant, I love to be able to go back and, like, I know there's some people that don't like looking at people's earlier works. Like, there's a lot of mainstream people out there that really like to just stick to modern. But, I mean, Dark Glasses definitely wasn't Argento's best. I really didn't care much for that movie. I want to see his earliest work, just like whenever I dive into Fulci's filmography. I love to see how filmmakers evolve. It's one of the most exciting things of being a cinephile. It really, really is. So to get a perspective of this, the score was great. The movie itself, it had some weird pacing issues. I'm not even going to lie. It was still a solid, fun time. 4 out of 5, 8 out of 10 if you want to convert it that way. I prefer a 20-point scale, so I always like to put it both ways. So, now, the premise of this movie, I'll just read it straight off the back. I mean, so this guy really is just like kind of a musician, and he accidentally kills somebody, and so he ends up getting like blackmailed and stuff like that, which leads you to our masked killer. And Four Flies on Grey Velvet, the title of it, it definitely plays a lot into how it culminates, how it forms, the score in this. It's not, if you're an Argento fan and you're used to seeing Goblin or hearing Goblin in all of his movies, you definitely are not getting that here. It is still a very, very, very fun time. It's by far not his best, and it is not the greatest thing that you will probably watch all year. Now, in regards to the film elements, I don't know if I already said it, but this was this was restored from the original 35mm camera negative. Cool. That's always the best way to get it. So, on a transfer level, it looks awesome. It's not reference quality by any means. This isn't a disc that is a complete must-own unless you're an Argento collector like me, or if you happen to stumble in this situation that I managed to acquire this, and you're able to essentially get it for free. So that's always really, really cool whenever you can get things that way. Now, there's some really, really, really great moments, like the final, I'd say 60 seconds, maybe a minute and a half, looks absolutely insane. The medallion that sometimes it focuses on in and out, you know what I'm talking about. I just kind of want to leave it really loose because it's a very pivotal moment. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm saying. If you don't, you'll be able to notice or remember what I'm talking about once you do watch this movie, or if you manage to get a hold of this disc. It looks really awesome whenever it focuses in on the medallion. Yeah, so it looks really good. The audio track is very, very crisp, very, very clean. It also does feature Dolby Vision. Cool. As HDR. So it doesn't necessarily outside of like, the HDR is not only for bright colors. I cannot preach that message enough. Like I say, I think that animation lacks love on the format because it brings out a lot of bright colors, and then there's sometimes we don't get HDR on something and people are like, it doesn't really need it, but those elevated black levels, especially whenever you have an OLED, always helps. Now, there are some times we don't get the truest of truest blacks. There is some still black level raising occasionally that you will see on this disc, but for the most part, it is a damn near flawless disc. There weren't really moments that really sucked me out due to a transfer or really just really any scene. It looked exactly how you would expect. I guess for reference, the way that I would say that this holds up to is if you have had Deep Red in your collection or the Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Those were released by Arrow. I would probably put them right there, maybe edging it out a tiny bit, right up there with Arrow's restorations, which are solid. They are very good restorations that are very, very, very faithful to the source material without any scrubbing, without any DNR, without anything that you don't really want, and it gives you a very, very faithful image. So that's always really good to have. Overall, I'm going to give this release, honestly, just because of the sheer amount of special features. This wasn't necessarily a movie I really cared to foray into the special features, but now that it's all there, I did check a few of them out. I'm going to watch all of these. It's jam-packed, and I've been on record before saying that you can never have enough special features, but this is absolutely loaded with special features right there. So overall, as a package, I'm going to have to give it a 9 out of 10. I love that slipcover. I love the fact that not really a lot of it's on the 4K. You have 2 other dedicated discs for the special features, and it even comes with a CD soundtrack if this is one of your favorite soundtracks, and it's very preferential for you. So without further ado, like I said, I'm going to give it about a 9.5, 9 out of 10. Very, very, very solid release by Severin. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more exciting from screen to shelf content. We've got a lot planned for you guys in 2024. Thank you guys so much for joining me this time. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you picked this up, what your thoughts are. Was it not up to par? Was it better than what I said? Am I giving it not enough credit where credit is due? Or do you think I'm overselling it? Let me know. We all have opinions, and I always love talking about our opinions. See you guys next time.